Welcome everyone to my July the 15th, 2013 session of Moonscapes. This will be my 16th edition of the Moonscapes series. I'm trying something a little bit different tonight, and unfortunately we're battling a high deck of clouds, and that's why we've got a bit of a hazy look around that moon. But you can notice right away that we're not using a high power eyepiece, we're not using a Barlow, and we're not in real close, and we've got a full view of the moon, the near quarter moon, hanging over here in the southwestern sky. And this is a view that I used to get all the time when I was a youngster, looking with my small telescopes at the moon, when you can see the entire disk of the moon. You can see all the Mar, and of course along the terminator all those nice craters. Now I'm not zoomed in all the way, as you can see here. I've got some zoom. I'll pull it in a little bit closer. What I'm using to get this image is an eyepiece that I wanted to try using a while back, but I could never get it to fit into the camera. I finally did a little finagling with it with a break, and I got it in there, and it seems to work pretty well. It's an Orion Q70 eyepiece. It's a moderately priced eyepiece. It's not top quality. It's about $100 eyepiece. Compare that to a Panoptic, which is around almost $300. So you can see it is actually a fairly inexpensive eyepiece. But a 38 millimeter eyepiece on this. I'm using my 5-inch telescope tonight, my Mac Sudoff Cassegrain, the smaller scope. Number of reasons. One was the worry about this cloud bank I'm shooting through, and that's why we got the little hazy look around the moon. And second, it is that here in Connecticut, as cold as the winters that we get some brutal heat in the summertime. Temperatures have been in the mid to high 90s during the day, and dew points ridiculously in the mid 70s, and that just makes it oppressive, and just it makes you not even want to move during the day. In fact, I had a very difficult time making this setup tonight. It was just so warm that even after sunset I waited as late as I could, and it was just a chore to set up the instruments and line up the mount and run the wires and set up the computers. I noticed I don't have too many hits on my last video that I put up when I showed my instrumentation and how I do one of these sessions. But if you take a look at that, you'll see just how much equipment goes into setting one of these up. Let me bring this back a little bit towards the center. My goal was actually, I'm figuring on doing maybe two smaller or two short sessions tonight. I was thinking of doing a short video here on this full disk of the quarter moon, and signing off, and maybe making this 16A and then doing a 16B Moonscapes, where I was going to try my 5 millimeter eyepiece, which I have not yet tried because we do not get the good seeing here in Connecticut. And tonight with this cloud deck, actually it gives you better seeing, believe it or not. I'll explain that in a second. And so I'm thinking of trying the 5 millimeter at least. If not, I'll try go back to my 9 millimeter, and we'll do some high power work. So if all goes well, we'll do a short one here on this, and then I'll sign off and come back on with one on high power. Talking about seeing, as you've probably heard, you get these clear, cold winter nights, and everybody says, boy, that's the greatest night to be out observing. Well, it is if you're doing galaxies and the faint fuzzies, like we deep sky observers used to call them. It's great for stuff like that, but you want to do the moon and the planets, and those are the worst nights to observe the moon and planets. A very clear, cold night. And the reason being is because you've got perfect conditions for radiation cooling. The Earth gives up its heat during the day to those nice crystal clear skies, and so you get this radiating effect and wavering and very, very bad seeing. And that seeing, again, is that wavering motion. Now, when you get this very, very heavy, wet, dewy air that we have all over us tonight, it's not the kind of night you'd want to be out looking for galaxies, but for looking at the moon and the planets. It really settles down the scene. It dampens it down. Those wavering. We're not going to be able to sit here because I've got such low power. But here, I'll zoom in as far as this eyepiece will let me go, and you might be able to see that it's really kind of misty looking because of that cloud deck we're looking through. But you can see the image is steady. See, there's not too much waving around, so we might have a little bit of luck with that real high power eyepiece. It all depends on what this cloud deck is going to do for us. Looking at this image, you can see our friend there, Mare Tranquility, that bluish colored Mar. Give me 1 second here. I'm actually sitting in my car, as I usually do, and I'm actually running the air conditioner in here. It's just brutal, and I had to cool it down a little bit, so give me a second. Let me just shut that down for now. Let it go for a second. Our friend Mare Tranquility is that bluish color Mar. Let me see. Actually, we might. What happens if I put auto on? That's not going to do it. What I'm trying to do is bring in the edge a little better, so we can see some of the edge detail. There we go. There we go. We're getting it down now. Okay. You can see Mare Chrism up near like 10 or 11 o'clock, that small Mar up there, that small round one. And then to the right of that, the first Mar to the right of that is Mar Fiducity. And then if you come down, that's up near 11 and going towards 12 o'clock almost. And it comes straight down and you run into the bluish color Mare Tranquility. And then, of course, Mare Serenitatis is that roundish color, roundish shaped Mar coming down the disk, getting down near the Apennine mountain range, which you can see there in the bottom of the image. But what's nice about this view is I don't know how impressive this is going to look on a large screen. I'm going to back out just a little bit more to get that look that I want. And again, I'm sorry about that glow around the moon that's caused by this high deck of clouds that I've shooting through. I was actually waiting out almost an hour before I could even try shooting. The clouds were just so thick. But this view here, when that haze isn't around the moon because of the clouds, it's just a gorgeous view. You have all that sharp detail, and there's this globe hanging in the black of space. And it really gives you the feeling that it's another planet because you see the whole disk. You're not zoomed in like we normally are in those tight in on a crater, and you just get the feel for the whole disk of the moon. And it's actually a beautiful, beautiful sight. I don't think any photograph does justice to the moon. I mean, all the stuff that I do here on YouTube site, and Bill Bryson's down in Richmond, Texas. As good as the views we get at times, there's still nothing like actually looking in through an eyepiece of the telescope and looking at the moon and seeing it for real. We can show you some nice shots, but they're not quite as good as it would be if you were actually looking at it with the eye. Mentioning Bill, he mentioned me in his last video. We've kind of been in contact back and forth, and he mentioned, he called me Jim Hansen from Connecticut. We still love you though, Bill, even though you made a mistake. My name is Jim Hannon, and I'm in Terryville, Connecticut, imaging these moon images. And as I say, we're in for a real scorcher. And from what I ran into tonight, this may be the only video I'll put up this week, and then I'm leaving for a little bit of vacation up in Vermont. So this may be the only moon image I get. Will be the one I get tonight for this moon cycle, because it's just in this heat, it's just ridiculous to try to set up and do this. It's especially with my advancing age, it's not fun. If I'm a little bit younger, I might enjoy it a little bit more, setting up in the heat. But I'm not enjoying that too much anymore. And I'm looking at that. I still see we got quite a bit of a haze around the moon. I think though, when we switch over to the high power, I think we might be able to get in close and some of that detail right along the terminator. That should be pretty interesting. What I'll probably do is when I sign off, I'll go in and take a couple of snapshots, which I work in Registacks. I usually take anywhere between 600 to 900 frames, shooting at 15 frames per second. And then I run that through the Registacks program, and I use the best 60% of the frames and throw away the worst 40% and produce snapshot images. And boy, I've been getting some pretty good shots, some nice shots of the detail we've been studying over some of these last videos. I'm building up quite a collection of those images. And I got to admit, with this Logitech webcam, just shooting through an eyepiece, they're producing some really nice images. I'm not going to go into discussing too much about the craters and what we're seeing there. I can, if you just give me a second here and get to my Atlas computer. I want to make sure down near the bottom there are two craters which are right near. Let's see. They're the two that are pointing towards Mare Serenitatis. And, yeah, the bottom one is Aristoteles, and the top one is Eudoxus. Those are those two craters that point right up to the Mare Serenitatis. And then it goes into the arc of the Alpine Valley that arcs into the terminator of the moon. Let me see. I'll actually show you what happens if we zoom way in. You see there, you can see there, I'm probably getting into the vignetting here, but now it's getting dark and it's hard to see. But that glow that's right close in around the moon, that is just because of the clouds. If it wasn't for those clouds, we'd have a beautifully sharp image of the moon with a pitch black sky in the background. So we're getting robbed of a little bit of a view because of that cloud deck. And I'm not sure how much it's going to let me do tonight. I may go to switch out the cameras and find out the clouds will come in, and I may not even be able to get a second video up. But I with a little bit of luck, we'll be able to pull it off. So I guess that's about it for this. I'm going to, as I said, I think I'm going to try putting in the 5mm. I have no idea what that's going to do for me. I can always go to one of the eyepieces I've used in the past, like my 13 or that 9mm, the new one I got. But I really like to give this 5mm a run and see how it does. So we're gonna give that a shot, and we'll see how it goes. So. With a little luck, I'll have this will be a Moonscape 16A, and if you see a Moonscape 16B, that'll be another run tonight with that 5mm. So, guys, good health, clear skies, and I hope to see you here in just a couple more minutes with what I'll call Moonscape 16B. In higher power. If you do not see that come up on YouTube, it means that I got clouded out, and then we'll see you after my trip to Vermont. Take care, guys.